So that the NFL has came down with a ruling through the independent judge in the case, Sue Robinson. She has ruled that Deshaun Watson will be suspended 6 games for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. Now, she justifies this by saying that his behavior was egregious, but not sexually threatening in any way. And that was the justification behind the 6 game suspension. Look, the whole thing was a whole bunch of bullshit to begin with, right? The fact of the matter is, we heard nothing of this sort. Nothing of this sort when he was playing for the Houston Texans. We heard nothing about. All we heard was how he was an ambassador to the game, how he was a staple in the game. He was getting all this stuff, right? When he actually get traded from the Houston Texans because he did not like the direction of the franchise, all of a sudden now all this stuff comes out. And I have it on good faith that a lot of this was a bunch of false allegations to begin with, all for a money grab. I've listed the litany of false allegations that was levied against him on this very platform. What about the girl who came out and said that Deshaun Watson was a consummate professional, and then she watched the episode of Real Sports, and then turns around and makes the allegation? I have recalled out how the son of one of the accusers came out and basically exposed his mom for trying to get a money grab. See, nobody wants to talk about that, but you got these dimwits, dodo birds, and dunderheads that's gonna come on TV talk about 6 games isn't enough. He should have been suspended for the whole year. Blah 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 blah. Watch, the usual suspects will come on ESPN, or they will be on social media running their mouth about how 6 games wasn't enough and this is a miscarriage of justice and all this other BS. Right? Meanwhile, they've done nothing about the Washington Corporate Commanders and their allegations against uh, Daniel Snyder. They've done nothing. A $10 million fine? What's a $10 million fine to a billionaire? What's a $10 million fine to a billionaire? Oh, well, he handed control over the franchise to his wife. Okay, it's still under the Snyder's name. Now, they still got yet to explain how the DA and Tony Busby. Tony Busby went to 2 different counties to try to get criminal charges put on him, and on both occasions, the ruling came back with no. Let's just be honest about the situation. This man tried to go to 2 different counties to levy criminal charges against Deshaun Watson, and on both occasions, the ruling came back with a grand jury now, because you know how they try to finagle things in the way to try to get the desired result. That's what happens in these grand jury proceedings, and they both came back and said no. In which we have a clear case of the NFL having a one set of rules for the players and another set of rules for the owners. Robert Kraft was going around these Asian parlors getting love me long time at these goddamn Asian parlors, and did anything happen to him? People came to Robert Kraft's defense saying that, oh man, man 73, he gotta live his life, it's not wrong with him getting no love me long time, you know. Jerry Jones, right? What Jerry Jones had one of his members on his staff was going around making peepholes just so he can survey the cheerleaders changing clothes. So it looks like the NFL got one set of rules for the players, especially black players, and then they have another set of rules for the owners. See, they can get away with it, and they can continue being owners and ambassadors and all that. But if you are, and the NFL is predominantly black, they're still trying to recover from the Colin Kaepernick situation because that Colin Kaepernick situation gave them a black eye. See, when you got stuff like this going on, this is why people don't watch the NFL. The Colin Kaepernick incident has turned off a lot of people from the NFL. And the NFL looks like a whole bunch of hypocrites here. Yeah, you appoint some independent person to come in and do an investigation, big deal. The NFL was trying to push for a year-long suspension. They was pushing for a year-long suspension. Now, mind you, this dude hadn't played all year the year before. And they were trying to push for another year. When they got their own misconduct going on amongst the ranks, you got uh Commanders owner Daniel Snyder, 15 women testified before Congress, right? This guy out here trying to misappropriate funds and do all kinds of crazy shit. And nobody bats an eye. I tell you, man. I tell you. And then when you call him out about it, then he want to sue you for defamation. Independent hearing officer Sue Robinson presided over a 3-day disciplinary hearing in which the NFL and the Players Association presented their cases in determining if Watson violated the league conduct policy. Days before the hearings began, it was reported that the NFL pushed for a 1-year suspension. A source told Yahoo Sports that the NFL wanted the public to know that it pushed for that year-long suspension before the discipline hearing. Now, they tried to get out in front of this because there was public pressure on the NFL to make a statement. You have pressure on from all those female feminists at ESPN. You have a whole bunch of pressure from social media groups. You had a whole bunch of pressure from female activist groups. All that stuff. There was pressure on. There was tons of pressure from the NFL. You had women that was in Cleveland, right, saying that they're going to boycott the game because Deshaun Watson got traded there. All that stuff, right? Say, was it Jimmy Jones or Jerry Jones? Yeah, Jerry Jones was accused of sexual misconduct. And Jerry Jones got secret kids, but you wouldn't hear about that. Now, mind you, Herschel Walker, that was carpet bombed in the media for like days and weeks on end when it was revealed that Herschel Walker had secret kids. When Jerry Jones, some 25-year-old woman just came out of nowhere. Hey, Jerry Jones is my daddy. You heard about that like 1 or 2 days, and that went away from the news cycle. That's right. And good morning to everybody. I see y'all up in the building. Carla, Gigi Chillin, B Skrills, Alex Heron, B Skrills, my man Too Raw. Hey, go subscribe to Too Raw for sports and Too Raw for TV. My man Eric Johnson, Michael Lewis, Carl Ward, Maximus Royalty, my little brother Neutral Natural. Appreciate y'all for being up in the building. And no, Deshaun Watson ain't commit no crime. That's why on 2 different occasions they still won't explain that. You mean to tell me 2 different times not Rusty Harden, that was the Deshaun Watson's attorney. Tony Busby tried to get this man criminally charged on 2 different occasions, and on 2 different occasions, the grand jury said no. He went to 2 different counties now, but nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. That's okay. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. Because that's bullshit. Deshaun Watson should not be suspended any games, if you ask me. He should not be suspended any games. Just disgusting, man. Just disgusting. Now, all offseason, this this thing with Deshaun Watson became the NFL's biggest scandal. Forget what was going on with the Washington Commanders and Daniel Snyder. No, that should have been the NFL's biggest scandal, but instead, this is. This is for some inexplicable reason. This is the topic, right? That dominated the airwaves in the NFL offseason. Not the Washington Commanders and Daniel Snyder out here running basically running a mafia ring with the sexual misconduct allegations that was going on. And there was some against him. There was some sexual misconduct allegations against Daniel Snyder himself. Nobody wants to talk about that. Right? Nobody wants to talk about that. But you got a whole bunch of lying ass women that came out of nowhere talking about how he made me feel uncomfortable. How he make you feel uncomfortable? Did he violate you? No. I mean, what did he do to make you feel uncomfortable? Now, if you are a massage, oh, that's another thing they don't want to talk about. So a lot of women weren't even qualified to give massages, right? Because to be a massage therapist, you have to have a license. Some of the women wasn't even fucking licensed. So how do you explain that? See, they don't want to bring up none of that. How some of the women wasn't even licensed to give massages and all that. So how do we know they didn't commit a sexual assault? Because as a massage therapist, there's some places you're not supposed to be touching, male or female. So how is it that they didn't commit sexual assault? They're there, oh, well, oh man, oh, and then they're probably talking about it amongst their girlfriends. Oh, girl, guess who I saw today? I saw Deshaun Watson today. Oh, oh, girl, I'm so excited. Oh, I got to touch his penis and everything. Well, they say that, they probably say they touch his dick or they touch his cock or whatever makes their bacon sizzle, right? Hey, you ain't supposed to be touching that as a massage therapist, right? You ain't supposed to be rubbing up on the balls and all that. You ain't supposed to be doing none of that. But none of them nobody wants to bring that up, right? All this stuff that was going on, and yet Deshaun Watson got made guilty in the court of public opinion. No thanks to these feminists like Molly Cam and Sarah Spain and Kimberly A. Martin, whatever dimwit female they bring on ESPN to throw dirt on Deshaun Watson's name. This was a character assassination if there ever was one. So we're gonna ignore all the details. We're gonna ignore all the real facts, and then we're just gonna prop up some little narrative and all that to desecrate and diminish and destroy the name of Deshaun Watson. It's bullshit. You got women going on Tasha K YouTube channel talking this shit about, oh, Deshaun Watson made me feel uncomfortable and Deshaun Watson, I just having nightmares every time I see that face. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, Mina Kimes, she can get the fuck out of here too. That bitch don't know nothing about no goddamn football. For real. I always get these self-serving, self-gratifying women on TV. And then they sit up there and try to make it a beat about them. That's the thing that really pissed me off about the situation. Situation don't got nothing to do with them, and they'll sit up there and make it seem like it's all about them. Oh, you gotta understand, when Deshaun Watson allegedly touched those women inappropriately, it felt like he touched me inappropriately. Get the fuck out of here. That's all that dumbass weasel word bullshit that be doing. Right? See, they only do that to the black athletes, right? They only do that to the black athlete. Don't they, they make these athletes out to be all these predators and all that. They know what they be doing. And then the the black men that work at ESPN, the people that do actually be, who actually was in the NFL, right? I don't hear none of them speaking out for Deshaun Watson. That's how you know these motherfuckers a bunch of goddamn sellouts and coons and all that. Fuck Stephen A, right? Fuck that motherfucker. But I'm talking like them dudes that actually played the game that work for ESPN. What's up, Courtney Washington? Salute to you, bro. For real, the people that actually work for ESPN that play in the NFL, right? They knew who they are. They knew who they are. Why aren't they speaking up for Deshaun Watson? There's supposed to be a brotherhood, right? There's supposed to be a code, right? Ain't no such thing as a brotherhood. Ain't no such thing as a code. People out here just saying whatever for whatever. People just say this stuff just to get a little, just to get a little following, and then they forget the code. They forget what the the respect factor in all this, right? GG Chillin sent me a $10 donation through this Cash App. I appreciate you, my sister. She said, thank you for the diverse content. Absolutely. And I thank you. More importantly, I thank you for your donation. I thank you for lending me your ears and letting me provide you this content. Now, if you want to donate, there's the Cash App, there's the PayPal. Salute to my sister GG Chillin 702 for a donation. Exactly, they are paid actors and all that. That's why I ain't got no respect for them. Nobody don't got no fucking balls to speak up and to speak up about this shit. That's the thing that gets on my nerves. Everybody talk about being on code and being all this and being on that, and yet these motherfuckers ain't no code. Cause none of them paid actors want to speak up and speak out against the injustice that was levied against Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson should not be suspended right now. When there was far more egregious stuff going on with the especially with the owners. Far more egregious stuff went on, but yet Deshaun Watson was made to be out to be the bad guy. He was the guy that was made to be guilty in the court of public opinion, when the court of law say he did nothing wrong. So when do we respect the law, right? Because anytime a black person gets found guilty, and we've seen on a multitude of occasions. I did a video last week where a guy did 44 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, and what they say, oh well, you gotta respect the law. The law is spoken, even though the system is pretty much rigged against the guy. But they told us, oh man, you gotta respect the law. The law has spoken, right? So when Deshaun Watson, when the grand jury declined to bring charges against Deshaun Watson, these same people who tell us to respect the law comes back and say this is a miscarriage of justice. This is a disgrace. So it's a disgrace when a black man don't have criminal charges levied against him, right? But that same black man can go to prison over a crime he didn't commit, and we're told to respect the law. Get the fuck out of here. Oh man, someone burning up some shit. Somebody burning up some shit. Anyway, so I don't want to hear nothing from these people here who make Deshaun Watson out to be a perpetrator. Meanwhile, people who've done way more worse shit than he did, right? And it's proven that the facts are out there. They done way more worse shit, and ain't a goddamn thing happened to them. They get to live their life. They get to do what they want to do, how they want to do it, and we're supposed to just move on. We can't. We gotta let the past be the past, right? But as soon as a black person does something, then we want to hold over their fucking hands for the rest of their life. Look what they did to Bill Cosby. Look what they did to goddamn going on. I mean, hell, on the lower scale, look what happened to Will Smith. Will Smith smashed the shit out of Chris Rock, and now Will Smith is out to be this big old black man that's this raging predator out here. That everybody is so outraged. Everybody is so appalled, and everybody is so taken aback that, oh man, I can't believe this happened. And oh man, when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, he felt like he slapped me. But you're not a black man. You're a white woman saying this. So how can you relate? You're not black, right? The fuck out of here. If you are or Amy Schumer or Wanda Sykes, right? Because Wanda Sykes wanted to be a dude her whole fucking life. So maybe at that point she had a flashback or some shit where she smacked the shit out somebody, right? But hey, oh, this is my night because I helped co-produce the Oscars. And yeah, nobody was watching and nobody was thinking about it until Will Smith smacked the shit out of Chris Rock. And then Chris Rock's out to be the victim, milking this proverbial cash cow for all it's worth. And then Will Smith gets raked to the coals, right? Will Smith get raked to the coals. He gets banned to the Oscars for 10 years. Meanwhile, there was a dude that worked for the Oscars in the Academy. He worked in the Academy. Why this motherfucker only got 8 years in jail for child molestation? So Will Smith was so egregious to the point he does he has to do 10 years away from the Oscars. Meanwhile, a guy who worked in the Academy got found guilty of child molestation, got 8 years in the pokey, right? And yet, no, they're saying people who were so outraged, who were so appalled, who were so taken aback. Where the fuck is the energy at now, right? But we already know what's going on, right? We already know the bullshit that's going on when it comes to black people in media, right? We make them out to be public enemy number one, while other people who does the same things, if not worse, gets a pass. And the thing about it is people think we're stupid that we don't know what the devil's going on, but we see what's going on and we're calling this bullshit out. So yeah, man, you white media members, y'all get the fuck out of here, man. You got you athletes that's working in media, that knowing that this con game is going on, that knowing that this egregious act is going on and saying nothing, you're just as fucking guilty as the people who runs with this bullshit. Because you had the opportunity to do something about it and you chose not to. But is it surprising that former athletes that play in the NFL and current athletes that playing in the NFL right now did not speak up for Deshaun Watson? Right? Does that surprise you? It shouldn't. When Colin Kaepernick had his ordeal, and you had all these people out who was looking for a camera and a microphone and some airtime and some brownie points, will sit up here and talk this shit about, oh, Colin Kaepernick disrespected the military. Oh, he took that knee, he disrespected the flag. Well, they got a lawnmower in their fucking engine? God damn. You need to take that bitch to get some maintenance, man. Fuck. Ain't no car engine supposed to be sounding like that. I really think they got a lawnmower engine in that car. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the Bunny Ranch, we talk about this thing about Deshaun Watson, right? Well, Colin Kaepernick was taking the knee, and you had all these jackasses running around here talking about, oh, he disrespected the flag. He disrespected the military. Where was all these people at? Huh? Where were these people at? Now, mind you, these same hypocrites, right, didn't even bother to talk to the Republican Party when they blocked a bill that would have given veterans expanded health coverage for those who were involved in wars going through these burn pits out here. But you don't hear nobody bat an eye. You don't hear nobody lose sleep over that. But Colin Kaepernick takes a knee. Everybody's outraged. There's all this mass hysteria. There's all this bullshit. And you know why I got to say to that? Fuck all of y'all. That's why I got to say fuck every last one of you motherfuckers that was enabling this bullshit, that turned a blind eye to this bullshit, that said nothing but this bullshit, and y'all sit up here saying that, oh man, y'all try to, and then the thing that really grinds my gears is the fact that they justify, but I got a family to feed. That's their justification for not saying nothing. I got a family to feed. I got to watch out for myself. Well, what about watching out for your fellow brother if that's supposed to be your brother, right? So I don't hear none of you bootlicking Negroes on TV talking this bullshit about being on code because you're not on code. And that's all I gotta say about that. Now, if you're not a subscriber to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share these videos on your social media platforms. What they did to Deshaun Watson was disgusting. It was disingenuous, and it's being dismissive of uh, uh, of the black community because he did nothing wrong. All those women freaking lied. Those women lied because you ain't hear nothing about that till he got asked. Till he wanted to be traded from the Texans. Now all of a sudden, now all these women coming out of the woodworks. So, and don't come on here trying to say, well, how you know it's not a lie? Well, how do you know it's true? So before you come on here trying to play these, you know, try to play these mind games and try to psychologically masturbate me with a whole bunch of bullshit, just know two can play that game too. This your man. Scream at me.